I'm so excited to have you join me today because, you're going to be shocked by this probably, but my friends and family don't really love so much talking about LinkedIn, but it just so happens to be one of my favorite things to talk about. And I'm so excited for today's session about, I want this little thing to go away, about turning your LinkedIn profile into a client magnet. Super exciting, super doable, and you have everything you need already at your fingertips to do this. So I'm very excited. Let's dig in. I see a lot of familiar faces, but there's some people I don't know. So hello, I'm Carly Martin with Hawthorne House Media. We are a digital marketing agency in Atlanta, Canada, and we focus on growing brands, positioning our clients as the experts in their niche and generating leads. And we do this with digital marketing, but one of my very favorite tools and really the juggernaut behind what we do is LinkedIn. So I love to talk about LinkedIn with business owners because I think there's such a huge opportunity. And it's just a platform that's so efficient for business growth. So the LinkedIn opportunity. I am going to assume most of you I met on LinkedIn, but I'm going to assume if you signed up for this, you already suspect that LinkedIn is a place for you to set up shop and use it to grow your business, grow your brand. And you're correct. Otherwise, this would be a really short chat. But really, a lot of people ask me like, well, is there a decline in users? And no, actually, it's gone up 200 million in active users in the last couple of years. There's so much opportunity. And the really great thing about it is that not a lot of business owners know how to optimize it and use it to its full potential. So if you are one of those people who gets all of these 4 pieces that we're going to be talking about today nailed down, then you have such an advantage. So I want to show you some ways that you can use your LinkedIn profile, because it's all well and good to talk about, different tactics and steps, but I want you to be able to picture, as far as your business and your marketing funnel, how LinkedIn can work for you. So it can work really, really well for, here you can see, this is Stephanie. We use it for her to fill her in-person events. So there's really, oh, hi, Peggy. There's a really great opportunity for you if you want to get bums in seats. So it's not just something that you can use if you are a digital business, but for digital businesses, it's really great too. So this was Amanda Horvath. She's a YouTube video specialist and coach. So she teaches people how to start YouTube channels and grow them to grow their businesses. And we used LinkedIn to fill her webinar to open her group program. So it's great for people who can work with people anywhere, and it's great for people who want to really drill down to a city or a province or a country. It's also really great for booking meetings directly onto your calendar. So maybe you don't have an online program, maybe you don't have an in-person event, and you just want to get on a discovery call or a sales call with people. That's great too. We can use LinkedIn to drive people directly to that. And then another thing that it's really great for is, you can see here with Kirsten, is for growing your network and getting a chance to be in other audiences and grow your influence that way. So this was with an opportunity that came up for her to be a part of a Stanford Business School event. So that's super great, and can really do a lot for your business that way. So this is kind of an idea for you to think about the end result of your time on LinkedIn. Where are you going to move people, whether it's a phone call or to an event or something in between? There's a lot of opportunity for you. So Let me know in the chat if that makes sense to you, if there's like a clear vision for you that you can see for your business, where you would drive people. And if not, let me know that too, and we can talk about that. Oh, look, I can see the chat. Normally I can't. Yay. Okay, so today we're focusing on the 4 things you have to have humming along on your LinkedIn profile in order to turn it into a client magnet. And then I want to talk about sort of a daily formula that you can use to easily and consistently work this into your daily processes, because you're not a full-time marketer and you don't want to be. So this isn't something that you want to, I hope they just mean literally, not emotionally. This isn't something you want to spend hours on a day, I get, or else it just won't be sustainable. So diving in with the 4 pieces. The first one is nailing your niche. So specifically, we do that using the profile that you're given. And everything I'm talking about today is for the free LinkedIn profile. So not LinkedIn Navigator. If you have that, that's great. But I wanted to make this for everybody. So this is just the free profile that you get. And I'm also focusing on your personal profile as opposed to a business page, because there's so much you can do with your personal profile before you need to even branch out. And until you have all of those pieces going, I wouldn't even worry about adding anything extra. And somebody is unmuted. If they can mute, that would be great. Because I don't know how to find it. Okay. So your personal profile, and I'm talking about everything from your headline to your profile picture. And then if you can picture your LinkedIn profile, like the banner at the top, your picture, your headline, your contact information, your about section, your and everything all the way down to recommendations. We want that to be optimized. And of course, that means filled out and completed. But beyond that, I really want you to start thinking about your LinkedIn profile like it's your website. So not just a resume, not just, copy and paste in your like resume details, but to really flesh it out and tell a story with it and use it like a sales page that speaks to your ideal client. So this is where we're really focusing on nailing our niche, because in every single part of your profile, there's an opportunity for you to give more information to your ideal client to make it super clear to them that you are the person that can help them, and how, and what makes you different, and all of that good stuff, as opposed to I worked at Sears from this date to that date. I managed 15 people, like that kind of stuff. That's what I think people typically think of with their LinkedIn profile, but we want to go really a lot deeper. Okay, so also I want to mention I have a ton of resources for you, and I will give you the links to all that to help you work through these different pieces that I'm going to be talking about. But one that I really want you to focus on when it comes to your profile is your about section, because this is like the landing page, the sales page of your website. So this is where we can have the most space to hook them in, get them reading, and tell them everything they need to know. And so this is a template that I use to get me thinking when I'm writing about sections. And so I just want to run over this with you, because you can use this when you're writing your about section, but really it's designed so that every single thing that you see here, you can use in so many different parts of the 4 pieces of having a LinkedIn funnel that we're going to cover today. You can use this with your content. You can use this to help inform your connection strategy. And you can use this for the context of your messaging strategies too. And of course, your profile. We can use this in all different places. So there's really these 6 components. First is a hook. And this is where you can show your personality, with which a lot of people, when it comes to LinkedIn, are worried about that. wonder if they are allowed to do that or aren't sure if they can show personality, but you absolutely can. I remember we did a profile for a fractional, um, a CFO, and she told me during our brand interview process that when she was a little girl, she dreamed of being an accountant, which I was like, that's hilarious. Who ever knew that such a thing happened? But if I was going to hire an accountant, I would absolutely love for it to be someone who grew up dreaming of being an accountant. So yeah, that was a hook that we started with, was when I was little, I grew up wanting to be an accountant or some such thing. So this is like just a little bit of an example of how you can inject some personality and use it to your advantage to hook people to keep reading. Now, as far as like content goes, you can write posts about that. It's a great thing to share and bring into part of your story. But then we want to lead into the pain points or the tipping points. Like, what causes your ideal client to go from sitting at home worrying about the problem you solve to deciding to take action, to deciding they've had enough? Those are the points we need to talk about. So 1 to 3. And this can be like, it's better to be clear than cutesy. And so this can be as simple as, do you lie awake at night thinking about 1, 2, 3? It can be as clear as that. But the point is that we want to make sure right away that they understand that we understand them. And that compels them to keep going. And you can turn each one of those 3 points into content. You can use that for conversation and questions in any kind of resources that you make and in your messaging too, your messaging strategies. Next is throwing rocks. So this just might not be part of your brand, but either way, you need to find a way to make them feel better about the fact that they haven't taken the right action yet, so that they feel good enough about themselves to be able to keep going. And then you can introduce your solution. So this might be like, for a financial advisor, well, we're just not taught in school how to grow our wealth. So of course you don't understand RSPs yet, or Roth RIA, whatever. You don't understand that stuff because you're not taught it. It's not your fault. But here I am with my solution to your problem. And you can lead nicely into how you help. All of these are super great ways to think about your content too. Make that easier. So you might not have a secret formula. For example, opening a retirement account is, maybe you do it with a lot of finesse, but you probably have a system that's been made for you. But maybe you're just going to talk about your framework of starting to work with you. So maybe you start with, for copywriting, you start with a brand interview or some such thing, and then you move into this step and then this step, and it lets them see themselves in, across the desk from you. And then you want to build confidence and certainty by discussing your track record, results you've had, that kind of stuff. And then the most important then is to end with a really clear call to action. And a call to action is just simply telling people what to do next. And the more simple, the better. And we can have this throughout your profile, from your banner graphic to the end of your about section, to your experience, your content, everything. And so that's when you simply say, email me, here's my email, call me, click here, whatever. But a lot of people forget to make it really easy for people to take the next steps with them. So this is designed to make sure that they have everything that they need. And then at the very end, it's really clear and really easy for them to move on. Does that make sense to everybody? All right. Okay, so the action you need to take for the profile section, I have a resource for you. It's called the LinkedIn Success Roadmap. And it has a section on optimizing your profile, some LinkedIn profile hacks that you can use to help people stay on your profile longer. some things to toggle, all of that good stuff. So I'm going to give you the link to that, but it has a breakdown of every little bit of your profile because we could do a whole workshop just on that,
Mm.
which I'd love to do if anyone's interested. But and then another way we can help too is with our new program, Six Figure Domination. So that's when we're doing everything that we're going to be talking about today, including giving your profile a makeover. All right. So, amplifying your authority. This is probably the one that trips people up the most or they have the most questions about, and that is content creation on LinkedIn. So I asked people when they registered to let me know their questions or their biggest frustrations, etc. And a lot of questions were around content. How do I use content to um, increase my thought leadership? How do I use it um, to solidify my positioning? And so that's where I like to think of the content on LinkedIn as like a thought lever. Like when you pull this one, when you've got this one going, then your content can really do a great job of building your brand and positioning you. But there's some real pitfalls to watch out for. So I want to get into that. But first, we want your content to position you as the expert. And on LinkedIn, it is mostly about you as a business owner. So that will be primarily what you're talking about, your expertise. Um, but we also, and we wanted to deliver value and education, but we also wanted to build know, like, and trust because as we know, you're only as successful in business as your relationships are successful. So it's important to build those relationships using content that shows people who you are, not just shows them what you know or the designations you have, because people take for granted that you understand the strategies that you are selling or creating. What they want to know is, do they like you enough to do business with you? Are they compelled enough to listen to you? So we want to give them the chance. You can use the about section to help you with that content creation too. But here's some myths about LinkedIn and specifically content. A lot of people think you have to sit down and create a journal article and publish one, and anything less than that is not acceptable. And that's not the case. You can use your content from other platforms. You can repackage it, play around with short form, long form, play around with all different kinds of formats. You do not have to be corporate and professional all the time. If you swear, swear. If you have tattoos, show them. Like you want people who want to connect with you because they like you genuinely, not because you're pretending to be something that you think you have to be. It's 2023. People are fine with it, warts and all. And I think, the wackier you are, the faster you're just going to cut through all the noise anyway. So let your freak flag fly, I say. And so the biggest, I think, misunderstanding about LinkedIn and specifically content on the platform is that it's the most important part of your organic strategy. And this is probably what keeps people from using LinkedIn to its full advantage is because when they think, oh, I have to, businesses slow down, I need to ramp up my marketing, I'm going to use LinkedIn, I'm going to post content. And because it's not a muscle that you've worked a lot, you can get burnt out on it and you drop it all together and you think, well, I'm not getting any results anyway. And we're going to get into that. So I just want you to know you can reuse your content. You can even reuse your TikToks or your Reels. You can bring that all over, add some context, change the format a little bit if you need to for LinkedIn, but you can absolutely do that. And remember, take the pressure off of yourself as far as content goes, and take the pressure off of the content by understanding that it's only a part, one of four, in fact, that we're talking about today, of what lets you see the success on LinkedIn that you can get. So let's take a look at a funnel, which is essentially what we're turning our LinkedIn profiles into today. And you can have a standalone LinkedIn funnel and you can get to six figures or beyond with your marketing. or you can have LinkedIn as part of a larger funnel. So we do both, and there's absolutely a, a huge opportunity to start with LinkedIn like this for yourself. But I want you to understand where your social media posts on LinkedIn, your content, where that fits in this funnel. So at the top of your funnel is awareness, and this is where what your posts are doing. You're casting a wide net, bringing people in, and you're sharing content so that they get a better idea of who you are. And then you're moving them along these different points in your marketing and your sales process to until they become a client. But a lot of people think that their social media posts alone can do what an entire funnel is designed to do. And that's why they feel like their social media content is failing or not returning on their investment of time or money or energy. And it's just putting too much pressure on that one pillar of a successful presence instead of understanding its role, which is simply to build your brand and give, those stories that people need to get to know you better and help move them along in your sales funnel and your marketing funnel, not do it all. Does that make sense? So basically, the main thing I want you to take away from the content piece is that your content is not a funnel. It's part of a funnel that are um you're able to like be original, show your personality. And especially for those of you who are in a really compliant industry, you can use this to make it your show. You're the star. You don't have to worry about compliance. You can show your personality as long as, and I know you're smart enough to not make, product recommendations or promises about investment returns or something, but you can definitely talk about yourself, show your personality, and use your content to build a relationship with people. So it's not just about like, here's what I do, here's how I do it, me. You have other things in common too. Like you're probably all business owners or you have children or whatever it is. You find that out for your niche and you can share content like that on LinkedIn too, get some conversations going. It doesn't have to just be value and education and professional all the time. So one person had sent me a message about her question was about video. Let me just find it here. I'm How do I present my best self on LinkedIn? What kind of video of my story should I add to the highlight on my profile that engages personally while maintaining a professional image? So this is a typical kind of question that I get, and you can see now, I hope, how much pressure she's putting on this one part of her presence on LinkedIn. So the answer is like one video can't do that. One post can't do that. And so it's about using varied kinds of content to build that picture and showing up consistently in order to get that out there. Video is excellent on LinkedIn because even if you're just talking about professional stuff and your systems or your processes, it people can hear your voice, see your mannerisms, get a feel for you so much faster than from reading. So even if you're not necessarily talking about how much you love long walks on the beach and pina coladas, they can still get to know you. But absolutely, if you love walks on the beach, you can share that and ask them how they unwind after a busy week. So you don't have to be afraid about being super polished and perfect, is what I'm getting at. Okay, so taking action by creating LinkedIn content. So it might feel like a biggie, but hopefully you can have a little bit of a mindset shift when it comes to seeing your content as just one piece of what you need to do on LinkedIn instead of like something you need to spend hours on a day. At the end, I'll show you like the daily steps you can take. And if you don't have time to create content that day, that's more than fine because there's other really important things you can do that will still keep growing your network and filling your pipeline. But that said, to get help with it in the LinkedIn content bundle, there are Actually, it's part of the other LinkedIn Success Roadmap. So I'll just send you one link because it has all of the portions we're talking about. But it has templates that you can use for like, you can start with the first 10 things that we post for clients to try to like cover all those different bases and get you thinking that way. It has a swipe file of, I think it's up to 85 engagement boosting posts you can use, that kind of stuff that is the bridging the gap. Like, what do you guys have in common? And here I am, relating to you as a person instead of just sharing my expertise, that kind of stuff, and best practices and different kinds of content you can share. So you can go through all of that and hopefully it inspires you. And if it doesn't inspire you, just copy and paste it and get started because you can't iterate nothing. You need to just get the ball rolling. And then also the social kit, which is our program to create the content for you and schedule the content for you. And it includes videos too. So we're doing everything to show who you are, and you can just take that piece right off of your to-do list. Okay, any questions about the content creation part? I know that's a biggie. Oh, no problem, Jojo. I totally get it. Hell yeah. Okay, well, if you think of any, just drop them. Let me know. But I'm going to continue on to the third of 4 pillars of a successful LinkedIn profile, and that's connections. Okay, so first, we want to think about this strategically. Instead of just having like hoarding these digital profiles from people you worked with a decade or 2 ago, or you went to university with, or whatever, you need to think about growing your connection, your network on LinkedIn proactively and strategically. So that means thinking, who do I want to connect with? Who are my ideal clients? And then reaching out and connecting with them. I think a lot of people think if they nail that content piece, that people will then just like come to them in droves, and that's probably not going to happen. And wouldn't you rather feel like in control and on top of your business growth anyway? This way, you're grabbing the bull by the horns and you're going out and you're connecting with people, and growing your network strategically. How do we link an Instagram post into LinkedIn? You have to, yeah, I know that's annoying and it's part of tinkering with the logistics, but basically you have to download the video if you make it right on Instagram or TikTok. You have to download the videos to your phone and then upload it on LinkedIn separately. And that's okay. That's better because LinkedIn likes it more if you upload something and it's being shared natively on the scene as opposed to like trying to send people off somewhere else. And you might have a watermark on it that says Instagram, and it is fine. Just done is better than perfect. And you can use the caption to give more context. So connections, this is like the real fork in the road moment for success on LinkedIn, because this is where a lot of people fall off. So they're cool with doing their profile optimization, they get sharing content, but then when it comes to being proactive and strategic about connecting, they kind of fall off. And I think a lot of the times that's because people don't want to be like spammy or salesy, which we'll get to. So some connection tips are use the search function. So LinkedIn has a really robust search feature, even on the free version. Of course, with Navigator, it gets like intense. Like you can do, I don't know, blood type and like great grandmother bloodline stuff. But like just for the free version, you can do a lot. So you can search by area, obviously, how many people they have in their business, job title, and you can use Boolean searches too. So you can really drill down. So if you're super general, like I work with business owners in Earth, then you're going to get millions of people's profiles coming up. But if you want to drill down even more niche, like I work with agency owners who have 10 years of experience and at least 5 employees, then, you're going to have a really smaller list of people, and you can really get focused on building these relationships. So it's really powerful either way. So when you reach out and connect with people proactively, so sending a invitation to connect, we never want to start out by selling anything. And we just want to be, personal, friendly, tell them why you're connecting, and always send the message with the invite to connect. So the reason I like to do that, and some people preach that you shouldn't, but for me, I'm not just trying to build a network that I can burn through. It's also important, as well as getting leads, to build a brand for the long term, because I need to work for a few more decades. So I need this stuff to grow with me. So when I very first started on LinkedIn, an old mentor that I had this challenge in her group called 10 days to 1K. And it was a LinkedIn challenge where we would connect with as many business owners, that was the search term, on the continent. And we would send them all this message selling our services and asking if they want to jump on a call. You do this, you send like hundreds and hundreds of messages out, and you get some low hanging fruit where the stars combine and they're ready to get on a call. Most of the time, it's not a great fit at all, but sometimes you might hit gold. But in an effort to get this low hanging fruit, you've just burned through all of these people who maybe don't respond to that kind of messaging, just need some more time. It's not the right time for them to make a leap like that, whatever. So when we send a connection invitation with a nice little message, it's not pushing anybody away. And then when they accept that message, even if they don't respond, if they just accept it, it pops up in your inbox in LinkedIn. So now you know that you have someone that accepted your request, and you can continue on with your messaging strategies, which we'll get to next. But it's a great way to help you stay organized if you're using the free version. So one of the biggest things that keeps people from using the connection strategies at all is that they don't want to be annoying. And instead, I want you to think like, okay, we have sent thousands of messages now over the years to people in all different industries, all different levels of business, all different locations. And I could probably count on one hand how many times anyone has a problem with it. And if they do have a problem, great. Thanks for letting us know that you're not who we're looking for. That's not a problem. We can just move on. It's so much easier to just know that and move on. But nobody has ever gotten mad or, doxed me online or anything like that. It's the worst case scenario is they might say, please stop contacting me or messaging me. That's fine. So if you're going in with the intention of connecting with someone that you might be able to help and learning more about them, that's going to resonate. That's the thing that's going to come through. And really, if you think about it, if your person's out there and they need your help, then it's rude not to reach out and connect with them, because you're denying them your brilliance. We don't want that. So this component, the connection component that I really want you to be able to walk away and take action with, is I want you to get in the habit of sending out connection requests strategically to the kinds of people that you want to do business with. I don't want you to spend an hour going over their profile and clicking over to their website or anything like that yet. But I want you to get in the habit of finding people and sending them an invitation to connect, so you can see for yourself that it's not scary, it doesn't make them mad, and you can see that it in fact can spark conversations and get those messaging strategies going. In the LinkedIn Success Roadmap, there are a whole bunch of invites that we send, and you can just start with those. Not that I want everybody to sound the same, but the important thing is that you just get started, and then you can, iterate and evolve as you go. We have one message in particular, I think it's the one at the top, and we've used that for so many different industries because it's just, light and a little bit funny, as funny as you can be in like one sentence, and it lets people feel easy writing back a little something like, oh, haha, nice invitation or whatever. And it just gets the ball rolling in a more natural way. So in the roadmap, there's a strategy for how to find people and start connecting with them, and you can swipe the invitations that we send just to get that muscle building. Because when you get in the habit of it, you'll see it's really not so scary, and it doesn't have to take a lot of time. This part, the connection part, can be a little bit more templated, and then when we get to the next part about messaging, that's when you can spend more time getting to know them. And then, of course, in six-figure domination, where we create your connection strategy and your messaging strategy and get it started for you so we can work out the kinks for you. And when you take it over, okay, no one's going to get mad at me. No one's going to I'm not going to lose my LinkedIn account. It's all good and it's working. Okay, so any questions about the connection component? Then I'll move on to the fourth pillar in turning your LinkedIn profile into a client magnet, and that is igniting your network. So we've made a spiffy profile now that does a great job of selling you 24/7. We're creating content that is hitting all of the marks, and we understand the role it plays. And we are starting to intentionally and strategically build our network. And now what? Now, if the progress for most business owners stops at being strategic and proactive with sending connection requests, then it's like a death cliff when it comes to messaging, because that's when people are like, oh, what do I say so that it doesn't just like turn to talk about the weather and then drops off forever and that's it. So first, let's think about what is the point? What are we trying to do here? So a successful LinkedIn profile or presence, really, when you're thinking about it, is trying to move people off LinkedIn, essentially. So this is our chance to build rapport, get to know them, ask them questions so you can figure out if you can help them, and if you can't, who can you send their way? And if you can help them, you need all the information that you can get in order to qualify them and in order to know how best to help them. Only connect with people you know, only accept connections if you know the person. Has that changed? Yeah, I'm definitely ignoring that directive. So when I send out connection requests, I'm sending it out to second degree connections. That means we have somebody in common. So there's that, but no, I'm branching out. Now, if you are only trying to connect with people like, say for advisors or someone who's only licensed to do business in a certain area geographically, then maybe you want to be a little bit more, even more intentional with building those relationships one at a time with people that you know and you will be running into in the grocery store. But otherwise, no, you can go for second degree connections and start branching out. I haven't had anybody have a problem with that ever. Right, so messaging. This is really the part that we're going to focus on in order to move them to the next part in our sales process, which is different for everyone. Like we saw earlier, maybe that's to invite them to an event. Messaging on LinkedIn is great for that. We just filled out a client's in-person seminar doing just that. Maybe it's getting people on some sort of online webinar or event of some sort, an online summit. I just actually today got a message in my inbox on LinkedIn from Jenna Kuchner. Do you guys know her? Jenna Kuchner? She's a big time marketer and so on. Anyway, she's just sending messages to everyone with the one action of going to check out her podcast. So it's how we want to use messaging to move people to the next phase or next step in our sales or marketing funnel, whatever that is. And maybe it's to move them directly to your calendar. And so that's when those conversations are happening and you're getting to know them and you're asking questions. And they say something like, well, how long does it take um, to redecorate my living room? And then you can say, that's a great question. I definitely need more information before I can answer that. Let's hop on a call, grab a spot on my calendar, and let's chat. It's as simple as that. So just remember, keep in mind, where am I trying to move people to next? And how can I do it naturally? So when we work with clients, we build out we call it a messaging tree. So basically, like after the invite that we send out, we have next steps. And you better believe we are messaging people, whether they say thanks for connecting or not. We're just going to charge ahead. I was looking at a client's LinkedIn account with the client the other day, and someone had been invited to connect and then sent a lead magnet, I think, and then invited to an event twice with maybe some sort of messaging in between. And they never have responded until the last one when they decided to go to the event and they went to the event and they requested a meeting. So, sometimes people are lurking and that's okay. Sometimes people are using their LinkedIn inbox like an email. So I'm part of, and I'm sure you all are part of, email newsletters that you're getting. And you might not read every single one, but there's those ones that you're like, ooh, I definitely want to make sure I open her emails because I love them. And even if I've never become a client yet, but that doesn't mean I won't. And so that constant nurturing is kind of how we need to think about our messages on LinkedIn as a nurturing tool. So you don't need to force people to be on your timeline. You don't need to hold their feet to the fire. You're just showing up consistently and you're going to move them through your process until they're ready. And it's as simple and nice as that. I like to lead with a lot of value. So I give big, and then when I need to, I can ask big. I can ask them if they want to come to an event or something. And I'm fine with that because I know I've offered them lots of value along the way. And there's no way they're going to accuse me of just being spammy. Email lust. Did I say that? I like that, but I didn't mean to say it if I did. Oh, list. Email list. But you know what? Build email lust with your email list. Are you a marketer? Because that is brilliant. I'm stealing that. Oops. Yeah. So yeah, basically, I like to think of the messaging as a nurturing tool, and for some people, they're going to participate in it like your email list, and for others, they're going to be more open to communication and chatting and stuff, and that's great. But to be honest, if you're sending out connection requests on a regular basis and you're growing your pool of people to chat with, if every single person wanted to have a chat, I mean, you'd have to close your business down and just do chats. So it's fine that some people are just reading along and ready to jump in whenever you've made it, because you've made it consistently easy for them whenever they're ready. Okay, so surprise, in the LinkedIn Success Roadmap, we have more about the messaging component and about walking people through that. So it's like this one just takes some time, love and tenderness. So when people say this, I'm going to send them that and start collecting that data. When people say no thanks to this event, I'm going to send them this. Like you can start organizing this stuff so that you can make it easier on yourself to know how am I going to keep the ball rolling without having to reinvent the wheel with every single conversation and every single touch point, and start thinking about it kind of like an email or a funnel as opposed to one-on-one conversations, because most of the time it's not. And then, of course, in six-figure domination, we're building out your entire tree for you and setting it up. So like, okay, I have an event. This is what I'm sending. Okay, I want to get people on my email list. So I'm going to send them my lead magnet, which is just a downloadable resource. And we can make those for you too. Basically, going back to this one here, whatever the next step is for you, we want to make sure that we make it super easy for them to do it and for you to be able to face doing it. Because if you're not doing it, all the fancy messaging trees in the world aren't going to help you. All right, so those are the 4 components to a sex. Ooh, now I'm getting like a dirty mind with this LinkedIn stuff, lusty and so forth. Like, oh, whoever knew LinkedIn could be so interesting. Okay, LinkedIn dailies. This is what I mentioned at the beginning. Like, how can you have a consistent but manageable system that you can work Monday to Friday to keep the ball rolling without having to become a marketer yourself? And so, yeah, exactly. That's how passionate, wink, wink, I am about LinkedIn. Okay, so you're going to send 10 to 20 connection requests, and you can use the swipe file in the roadmap to get you started, see how that performs. Don't judge it, just start sending it. And then you can make changes to it after you start getting some data and some feedback. But the important thing is to start doing this. And then you want to start engaging on posts. So these new people that you're connecting with, you can stay top of mind by engaging on their content. When you publish a post, they are more apt to engage on it as well. When you send them a message, it's not completely out of nowhere. They know who you are. But also that one's a little tricky depending on your niche. Like not every industry has a lot of people producing content. Like when I was focusing mostly on financial advisors, well, a lot of them don't share content. That's a big problem that they have. And then a lot of them that do are all using the same service that's just pumping out links to articles. So there's not a lot to really engage with, but you can do your best and make sure that you're showing up on the front end, on the post side, and on the back end in your connection and your messaging strategies. Then you're going to publish a post. And to make it real easy for yourself, you can use those templates that I shared. You can use content you've already created. You can just, spiff it up and update it if you must, and start sending that stuff out. And then messaging upkeep and outreach. So with the exception of the posting part, obviously that depends on how much you like doing that and how fast you are at that. But remember, we can help you with that if you want to take that part out completely. You should be able to do this in 10 to 20 minutes a day. Just pop in there, you're copying and pasting that first connection request, swap out their name, and you're going. And you're keeping the momentum going. You're keeping those conversations happening, just dipping in a little bit every day. See, the great thing and the bad thing about LinkedIn is that it's so boring. You're not spending 12 hours a day lying on your couch scrolling content on LinkedIn. You're getting on there with your elegant and efficient processes of turning your whole profile into a funnel, doing some business, and then logging off for the day. You can use TikTok to lie on your couch and consume content with, but you can use LinkedIn to grow your business a little bit every single day. We don't share because of compliance. Oh, yeah. So a lot of people don't share because of compliance. They're afraid of stepping out of line. Some companies, especially if you're in the States, really don't let you share content, even something super benign. So that's where you should be able to feel better about this whole thing by realizing that your content is just a part of it. So if you're in a really compliant industry, or if you really, really hate doing content, but you're not ready to get help with it, then at least you can know, well, as long as I have my profile set up like a sales page, all client facing, and as long as I'm keeping up with proactively growing my network, and as long as I'm working the messaging angle to try and move them to the next step, well, the content is what it is. It's what the company will let me do. You have to work with what you can, but the good thing with LinkedIn is that you have still a lot of room to grow and a lot of tools to use. Exactly. Yeah. And that's why I found it hard to engage with financial advisors, for example, because they're all sharing the same content. All of them from the same company are sharing the same links to the same articles, inviting them to the next webinar, whatever. But eh, you just do the best that you can do. If you're not allowed to do anything extra or publish your own content, really focus in on those other three components. Does that make sense? Yeah. Are you in the States?
Canada.
Oh, you're in Canada. Okay. I find in Canada it's a lot easier to market yourself at. You're an advisor? Yeah. Um, so does your company let you mess around at all, or is it just like toe the line or don't say anything?
They don't, but I do a little bit anyways. And
That's
every once in a while they come and say, oh, we want you guys sharing only our content, which we write, and then it's either English or French. I'm an immigrant myself, so I reach out to a lot of immigrant communities, and then I'm writing different languages. So they don't like it because they want to make sure I'm not making false promises, right? And
yeah.
that's their reputation. So it's hard, but I do. And sometimes even when you share Canada Revenues, which is our tax agency here,
Mhm.
I share something from the most authority on taxation, for example. Oh no, we want you sharing only our content. So
Yeah, see, the thing about your industry that's really tough is that as far as marketing goes, it's like they're only using the mechanics of marketing, but not the heart and the soul of marketing, is which is what makes it effective. So they're like, here's a post and you can share it, and that's great, but it doesn't do what it's really supposed to do. So that's where you're just going to have to really rely on, especially connections and messaging. Most companies aren't checking your messaging either. So if there's something you want to share, you could possibly find a way to do that. If you're allowed to even like add a picture when you share their articles, if you can add your own picture, then that's great too. Invest in some lifestyle photography and then throw a picture up of yourself like sipping a coffee while you're reading the Financial Times, and then have an article or something like that, just to get people used to your face, and it stops the scroll more, and it differentiates from everybody else who's sharing your content or the same content. But the nice thing is mostly like most people aren't going to follow a lot of advisors in the same company. So don't be too self-conscious about the fact that you're sharing stuff that other people are sharing. Um, and yeah, just try to put your personal stamp on it as much as you can.
thank you.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. I don't even know if I told you guys this. People who stayed till the end, I have a bonus for you, and that is a LinkedIn profile audit. So, how that works is you will fill out this form. Let me grab the link here. I'm so smart, putting them all on this. God, every day I'm just getting better and better. Okay, and I'm going to put the link in the chat, and then you can fill out this brief form. Okay, I'm going to put in the chat, yes. And you will just have to tell me a little bit about who your ideal clients are, your goals, your efforts that you've done, your LinkedIn profile, it's a major one. And what I'll do is I'm going to go through it basically like all the pieces that we talked about today. I'm going to go through all of that. And then I'm going to send you off a video with some ideas, some changes you can make, some additions you can make to turn your profile into a client magnet. So take advantage of that. I love doing them. I haven't done them in a while, but the link is in the chat now if you want to grab that and sign up for one of those. And I'd be happy to put some eyes on your profile and give you some ideas. Did I have more? Oh yeah, so six-figure domination. I talked about it throughout. This is our done for you program. So we have one-on-one clients that we work with to build this stuff out every day for them. But I wanted to have something that could be customized for you and set up for you, and then you have the ball and you can run with it. Because I meet so many brilliant entrepreneurs who they don't have email set up, they don't have a funnel, they don't have these strategies that we talked about today with LinkedIn, or lead magnets or any of these assets that can really help you consistently grow. They don't have that stuff set up for them. So I'd love to set that up for you and work these LinkedIn strategies into that and beyond, and get it all set up for you. I mean, you have everything you need. If you have clients, you have an offer, if you work with people and you solve a problem, you have everything you need already to have this LinkedIn profile funnel set up, or to have a wider funnel set up. You just need some help putting it together, which is what we love to do. Um, I'm going to send you an email with all the links that I just have been talking about, except for the bonus. So make sure you copy that from the chat if you wanted to take advantage of that. But I'm going to send out a link for all of these different resources so that you can use it to turn your profile into a funnel. Because I think it might seem overwhelming when we're just like fire hosing all this info at you, but really just start to think about it in these 4 pillars and what can I do to keep the ball rolling. Once you get your profile optimized, you can take that off your plate for a little while and you can focus on the other 3. And then it's just a matter really of working the system and getting used to it and collecting data and going from there. So I think that's it. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions that I didn't cover? Oh, great. Thank
Carly, Carly, I've got a question.
Yes.
That's okay.
Of
So
course.
when you've got your posts, because I use quite a LinkedIn a lot,
Mhm.
and I'm connected to quite a lot of people, and I have been to try to be as strategic as I can to connect to the decision maker that I want to be connected to, and it has brought me business for sure.
Excellent.
When I put a post on, does LinkedIn have the complex algorithm that Facebook has, where um, if you are interacting with another connection, you're more likely to see their posts? Because if you've got 500, I think I have about 1,500, 1,700 connections. I can't see all of their posts all the time. Is
Mhm.
there some sort of clever algorithm that's going on in the background that we don't know about? Do you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, every platform has their own algorithm they never want to let you fully understand lest you get comfortable. They always want to keep us on our feet. But
Yeah.
yeah, so a couple of things you can do is really try to be consistent because I feel like every time you drop off with the consistency, it takes so much longer for LinkedIn to start showing your stuff again. So consistency is key with everything in business growth and definitely with algorithm tickling. So create content, and this is where like the done is better than perfect. Just get used to putting it out there and interacting with other people's content. But ultimately, if it's not content that people want to engage with, it hits a wall as far as getting pushed out by the algorithm. But also think about, is your the industry, the people that you're targeting, are they engagers? Like maybe they're lurkers and it's okay. Yeah, you just need to focus on these other elements of your profile and
Okay.
just be consistent and see how that helps your numbers. Because every time you're connecting with people, if you're doing this regularly, you're going to see, LinkedIn's going to say like this many people have looked at your profile and let you see who's looking at your profile. Um, but that's because you've sent them a request. And so they're checking you out. So that's where they're going to see your sales page, your profile, and your
Yeah.
content. They can click to see your content from there too. So all of it really works together, and will
Okay.
help get more eyeballs out there. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, helpful. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. That's really amazing.
Um, Anybody else have any questions? There were a couple that were sent in. I want to make sure I answered them in case they're yours. Is it actually possible to generate enough business in my line of work? And she's not here today. She couldn't make it, but she's a financial advisor. Um, Purely through LinkedIn. And that is yes, absolutely. Um, depending on what your process is. So, as you know, if you're an advisor, you're probably looking to work with people who are a high net worth, and it's very unlikely that people are going to see a post and say, you know what, I want to give her $1 million, and then just like click through and call you and ask to transfer. This is where like the steps come in, that LinkedIn can help you with in your funnel. And that might be like driving people to a seminar or an in-person event, something like that, where you're, getting away from LinkedIn so you can really shine in front of them and then move them into their sales process. But absolutely, LinkedIn is a fabulous tool for doing that. And you can consistently have events or whatever it is that you're comfortable with your marketing and keep filling your pipeline. And like um, that testimonial from Stephanie says, they continue to pay off even years later. So even if someone comes to your event and they might not be ready to make a move then, your content is going to keep reminding them that you exist. Your emails or your messaging is going to keep reminding them. And then when they are ready, you have remained top of mind. So for sure, LinkedIn can be a place for you to just like hang your hat marketing wise and really drill down and get somewhere. Can I connect and engage with my target group of clients on LinkedIn to grow my business and grow my list of prospects? Yeah, we covered that. So you can definitely reach out and intentionally connect with those people. And you might be moving through different target groups like lawyers and then, I don't know, doctors or whatever, you might work with a whole bunch of other professionals, is what I'm saying, but you could go like group by group.
Should we, Carly, should we not use other social media platforms to support our LinkedIn? Let's say we are showing up very professional LinkedIn, but I don't know. I see some different posts for different advisors on Instagram that bring me to the conclusion I should never be on Instagram because I'm definitely not like that. And things that make our profession look not serious at all, then I'm always biased on not to do anything professional outside LinkedIn because of the amount of stuff I see happening. But I see some people doing very well using these platforms, but their posts of just dancing and having things written, and I'm thinking, okay, am I too old and I'm not moving with?
Well, I just think, if that's not a thing that you're naturally drawn to, then you're not going to be able to consistently show up and learn a whole new platform and learn all the nuances for growing and attracting people on that platform, just realistically. So if it was somewhere that you loved, then I would say, yeah, for sure, because, content wise, you can absolutely share the same content for the most part. But the strategies are always different on different platforms. So I get that a lot with clients where they think, oh, well, we have this content on LinkedIn and Facebook. Let's add Pinterest or something. But that's a whole other kettle of fish. That's a whole other strategy. Not to say that you can't, but it's not just as simple as just posting your content over there. It's learning a whole new lay of the land. So yes, to answer your question, you absolutely can be on other platforms. That's not a problem. And if you show up professionally, then your presence is going to be professional. You don't have to shake your booty like some people might be on that platform. But just be realistic, especially if you're handling it yourself, is do I want to take on learning a whole other platform? And will I do it? Will I keep showing up? And just know for LinkedIn that it really can do all the things you need to do. Like it can really be a marketing funnel in one box on LinkedIn. So I would say like really, if you dilute your focus, you'll dilute your results. So focus down on this one platform before you add another one and then another one or another effort altogether. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's great. Now, thank you. You mentioned consistency. What
Mm.
would be consistency? Is it once a week? Is it once every day? Um,
Well, that also depends on what is consistent for you. So if you can do 5 times a week, great. if you can do 3 times, great. If you're only doing 2, like, I would want it to be like, try to commit to at least like 2 posts a week or something, so you can keep the algorithm remembering you, keep showing up in front of people, but you absolutely don't have to be a content creation. Like, I know there's somebody that I follow. Oh, someone's unmuted. If you could mute yourself. Somebody that says you should post 3 times a day. Like, that's impossible. I'm just not going to do that. So it might be a best practice, but it's not a realistic one for me. But if that's your jam, then sure. The answer is whatever you can realistically commit to and is sustainable. Any other questions? Did I miss anything else? I know you sent in some, Alex. Did I miss answering any of them?
No, I think you answered. I think you answered what I put in. I think it was all about creation. I found that if I post too often, I get less interactions. So if I end up posting 3 in the same day, and then another one the next day, and then 2 the next day, I actually find that my connections, I get less interaction. And I try to be consistent with either 1 a day, or, as you say, 4 or 5 a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm obviously, mine is a creative industry, isn't it? So every post I have has got pictures or videos. I
Yeah.
have found that I get much more likes and comments if it's less full on, if it is 1 a day or 1 every 2 days. What I have found is I get less interaction if it's a video, which I
Yeah.
find interesting. And I think people seem to like to just on LinkedIn, whereas I'll put a video on Instagram. I think people just like to see a picture, and I don't know if that is relevant, but I have found I get less from a video.
Yeah, and it's great that you've given yourself permission to try all these different things so you have this data that you can use to inform your moves. So like on LinkedIn, now you can schedule posts. So if you're feeling super creative and inspired, you can get them all out, and then you can schedule them so they're going out and you don't have to think about it for a couple of weeks. But it's better to do it than not do it. So if someday you do 3 times, like, because the goal is to use these other 3 pillars to help you get success on the platform, not just content. So even if you don't love your engagement or your views, it's okay, because what it's really doing, it's building your brand so that when people go and check it out and read it and see your content and look at it, then as part of like their informed decision making about taking a step with you, then it's all there for them. So it's not necessarily like you're going to go viral or you need to get so many comments or something. It's just part of the 4 things that you need to have happening. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I have found that I put content on about my cold water swimming, and try to sort of relate it to business. And I have often met somebody outside of on site, wherever it might be, and they've commented on it, and people it isn't that I'm connected to, but I don't necessarily interact with. And that's really pleased me, that I can see they're obviously watching. They haven't
Oh yeah.
necessarily interacted, but they've seen me as a person, the
Hmm.
crazy person that I am, and that seems to work really well. So I do try to mix the two, so
Yeah.
that I'm not perfect at it, but have got my crazy, stupid personality in there somewhere. So
Well, I don't love you calling yourself stupid, but I do love you showing your personality. And yeah, that's the stuff that people connect with. There's a lot of lurkers on LinkedIn. Only 1% of the like 900 million people who are active, like are logging in every month, are sharing content. So like there's a lot of people who are watching and not necessarily contributing. And so that's okay. You just pick the person you're talking to and go forth. I went for a cold plunge this
well
weekend,
done,
Alex.
Tara. Oh, did you? Did
Yeah,
you? That's
10
amazing.
seconds.
And it was cold, really cold.
It was insane. Yeah, it was crazy cold.
maybe I should do a session on how to do cold water swimming.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well done. I'm really pleased with you. That's really great. And well done, Tara. I saw the message.
Oh,
Excellent.
awesome. Well, I think this needs to just be a part of your regular content now. It seems to be something people like to relate to.
It is the best thing in the world. Thank
Yes,
you, Carly.
notes to your presentation. Yes, I'll send out a replay, Diane, for sure. What are the main benefits of the paid version of LinkedIn other than seeing everyone who's viewed your profile? You have a little bit more capacity to send connection requests, but that's not enough of a reason for me to go to that because, as I said, if you're sending out those connection requests, most of the time people are going to be looking at your profile. Those profile views are just going to be people that you've sent requests to and they want to check you out before they accept. So it doesn't really like give you the information that it would be if you weren't being proactive. Because I think they want us to see like, oh, so and so looked at my profile and then send them a message and be like, I saw you were looking at my profile. What can I help you with? Which I wouldn't do. So I don't like that at all. But anyway, it doesn't work for us because we're sending out those connection requests. So I wouldn't bother with the next step up. I would just go free or go all the way to LinkedIn Navigator, which is basically like super organized. You can create lists of people you're going to reach out to. You can stay on top of what they're up to, where they are in your like LinkedIn funnel. When they create content, you can be notified, so you can like really be on top of engaging with their content and so on. And I think it's like in Canada anyway, it's $750 for the year. So as far as CRM kind of programs go, I think it's pretty typical. But I wouldn't even bother touching that until you've really figured out everything that we've talked about today, or you'd probably just be wasting your money. Did I miss
Carly, can I ask one more
Yeah,
question?
of
I'm
course.
so sorry to keep jumping in, guys.
Oh.
I've got a few connections that I tried to make, and I did send a note with the connection.
Mhm.
And one of them particularly I looked at a couple of days ago is a big decision maker, and I really wanted to try and get to that person, but it's still pending. So they've obviously decided not to accept the connection.
Mm.
Um, how do I get around that? How? Because I tried getting her email. I probably could ring the company to try and get her email that way, but I wanted to try and do it softly through LinkedIn so that I can just send a genuinely nice message, but I can't get to that person. Any suggestion?
A couple things you could try is if she has content, you could start engaging with her content. And
Okay.
maybe she'll get familiar with you then. Um, and another thing is you could send her an email, so you can send her a message even if you're not connected.
And how do you do that? Because
Um,
I get in mails as well, but I
yeah.
thought that was just because you've got a paid version.
No, you get a certain amount of in-mails. I can't remember off the top of my head. With the free version, maybe
Ah,
like 20 altogether, I want to say. I'm not sure because I don't really use them, but or if look on her profile, if she's a member of any groups, you could join that group and then you can message people within the same group as you, even if you're not.
ah, that's really handy, helpful. Okay, that's great. Thank you. Yeah, that's great. That was frustrating the other day, so I'll try it. Thank you. Brilliant.
You're like, hello, I'm here to help you and change your
Yeah, I
life,
know.
your
Give me
notification.
a show home. Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Thanks.
LinkedIn Navigator. That's the paid version of LinkedIn. If you're like really serious about it and you have like sales team and all of that stuff, you want to really get serious with it, or you're just like that, super organized kind of person, then LinkedIn Navigator is great. But yeah, you can do a whole lot with the free version. And that's also why I like sending those connection invite messages because then it pops up in your inbox. So it's a really handy way of knowing like, oh, okay, well, today I'm going to go into my inbox and I'm going to send everybody the like, thanks for connecting message that I have, to try, keep the ball rolling. And you can star things, you can archive things. So you can keep your inbox pretty tidy, if you don't want to use Navigator. And we like 99% of the times our clients don't have Navigator and we're just using the free version for them. Any other questions? I've kept you over. I'm sorry about that, and thank you. And yeah, make sure you get it's up here on the chat somewhere, but the mini LinkedIn audit if you want to know where to get started with, in particular, optimizing your, thanks, Shannon, your profile. But I'm going to send you all those things except for the link for the mini profile because I'm not sending it to people who didn't show up. Are you crazy? No way. So that's just a juicy prize for you people. But otherwise, I guess class is over and you are free to go now. I assume you're going to log off and go optimize your profiles right away. Thanks, Diane. And just like start, skyrocketing your business using LinkedIn. Yeah, great, Kim. Perfect. Yay. Thank you, everybody. So
Thank you,
appreciate
Carly.
your time today.
Thank you, Carly. We've waited ages for you, and that's great. Thank you. We
Yay.
really wanted you to do it. Thank you so much. That's been really helpful.
Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you so much. And thanks for all your questions.
You're so lovely.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.